Well, we're back, and after about 2.5 weeks, our parts for the semi finally showed up. And here's kind of what they look like in the box. I'll flip you around here. And here's how they come in. They come in a box of about 300 pounds. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull everything out, make sure we have it all. We're going to put it on the table, get it sorted correctly, and we'll keep you updated as we go. By the way, we just hired ourselves a new mechanic, so at least we'll have a pretty face in the picture. But all right, that's the update of what we got going on for now. Well, here we got the parts all laid out. We got the new sleeves and O-rings that were bad. Pistons are right here. Main bearings are in here, and the rod bearings. Bolts. Gasket set in here. Here's our ring set. So, all right, when we get a little help, we'll proceed on. Next step. Hello, welcome back. We're underneath here. Take a look at the crank here. This main oil pump, one of the biggest things is that if you do go through a motor, make sure you change out the O-rings in these pipes, because your pump is actually in the back and your sump is up here, up front. And if these O-rings up here go bad, it'll suck air, because it's actually supposed to suck the oil through the suction here, up through there. So what we're doing now is taking this module off. We'll be replacing, I think there's four O-rings in there. So let's get that off. We'll take a look at O-rings, and we got the pistons and everything pushed out through the top already. All right, we got the pipes off from the module to the oil pump. And the O-rings that we were talking about are these right up here, that from the heat of the oil, that they'll crack, or even if your tube, well, I guess I never really heard about the tube, but if the tube has a crack in it or something, it won't get oil, or the oil pressure will be low. So if you got low oil pressure, that's a common issue with them, is the O-rings are leaking by, and it's not fully getting suction on the oil reservoir. So hopefully that helps somebody, and we just keep picking away at our project. Well, after replacing the main bearings, let's take a look at what we've seen on them. The main bearings is what they're calling what's on the crankshaft, and we rolled new ones in, and we found a couple defects on them, on the old ones. But see if anybody can recognize it. But anyway, let's move on. And the one number 2 hole, here's some flaws or pieces that were missing out of the bearing. So how long this crank would have held together, an engine, I guess a guy don't ever know. But right there's what we pulled out of it. And that's out of the number 2 hole, and number 4 hole here had a little rough spot too in it. But that's what our bearings look like, and these are oil demisters that go underneath by the crank or the rod. These are thrust bearings up on top here that were on each end of the crank. Well, we got the sleeves, the new sleeves and packing put in. So let's take a look and see how that turned out. See if we can get ourselves in here. Crawl up here and uncover, see what we got. They actually look turned out pretty good. So when we got them put in, we had to take a measurement. It was like 1 to 2 thousandths that it protruded. And it all measured out well, so I guess we can move on to the next step. After looking a little closer, the measurement that we needed, it was about 7 thousandths. Not the original was 1 to 2, but it's about 7. So that's the correct number. But make sure you go to your owner's manual in your book and see what that tells you. Well, we got ourselves a 6-foot torque wrench here. We had a 4-foot, but it didn't have enough oomph on it. So now we got a 6-foot. And yeah, them things, they don't give them away, that's for sure. But we'll get our torquing set, and we needed the longer one for the connecting rods and the main bearings caps. We got the head back, and they went through and put new valves in, guides, ground the seats, and we before we put it back on the engine, we put the air intake on it, set all the torques on it. The exhaust side we did. Set the exhaust, and we'll put this back on the engine, and then from there we'll keep adding on to it, and we'll just keep you informed. Now we're just torquing with our big 6-foot torque wrench. We're torquing the mains down on the crankshaft, the main bearings.
Go. Get loosen. Okay, more.
These rings got a top to them and a bottom.
Yes.
When the guy puts the rings on, they actually have a diagram here on the ring. There's a top and a bottom to each ring. There's 3 rings that go on. And that's what we're in the middle of doing now, is putting the pistons on the rod and putting the rings on. So this is kind of where we're at right now.
Okay, shut it off.
Another thing, every good mechanic puts labels on his parts as they go back in, which you can see we got some good mechanics here. After you got the bearing put in, the rings are on, the rings got to be rotated like a triangle off every 30-40%. So like the first ring will be here, B will be over there, and C back here, like a triangle. Then what we've been doing is dipping them in oil, the whole piston, and then we've been compressing them, put them in the compressor, and I'll show you as we do that one also how it's set up. Well, let's explain this carbon scraper ring that we stick on right here, which goes on the top. Oops. It goes on the top as a sleeve, because in the sleeve there's a catch right here. If you tried putting pistons with the rings on it without this carbon scraper, which is that, you'd catch, as the piston dropped in, the ring would catch the lip. So what the guy does, put the carbon scraper ring in, and then the piston and the holder, and we'll go about doing that here in a minute. So you can see how we go about doing it. All right, here's our compressor that we have, ring compressor, the top of the carbon. And at this point, we go ahead and we oil down the sleeves really good. So the sleeves are good and oily. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to go in with this hammer here. We're going to go in with the piston. Here, grab this a second. There you go. Take that. Here, hang on. Okay, here we go. Coming down.
Slow down.
All right. Pull that ring off there, the compressor.
Keep going.
All right, we're in the hole. Keep on going. Keep on going, honey. Here it goes. Down. All right. There you go. That's how you do one of the pistons, pushing them in the new sleeve. So hopefully it helps somebody and we keep on moving here. I don't know if I said this earlier, but when you look down in here, there's a arrow telling you which way the piston needs to go in the hole to the front. So that's just another reminder, but which helps the guy out. Well, we moved our carbon ring back to the third. We're digging near half done, so keep picking away. Hooray! The last piston, and we got them all in the hole. So we're going to kind of just video this and kind of show what we're doing, how we go about it. And you just never know, it might help a guy. There's the old ones. New ones are laying here, new bearings. But we clean her up and I'll probably put you in fast forward here. See if I can get you set up here. There we go. You kind of see what we're doing. I don't have no fancy dancy holder, so I had to just use an old needle nose. That's my holders. But anyway, here's how we go about doing it. Last piston, hooray. The actual top bearing is your actual lock bearing on there. There's a lock on it, lock device. So when you press them in, they lock tight. So the bearing don't actually spin on the rod. But biggest thing is to make sure you keep them clean, and any dirt on there, it's a bad deal. I don't want to have to go back and redo the job because of dirt. Zach, you got any words of advice for our cameraman? Oh man of no words. What he's actually doing is setting the rings after he gets them set on their triangle. The gaps are on the triangle. We'll dump it in the oil again, get everything oiled up, and put it in the compressor. As we've been pushing these pistons in, we got a guy underneath that's guiding them in. And then you got to make sure you use the same bearing cap on the same rod, because when these things are manufactured, they're put together and then they're actually broken. We're gonna compress these under there. And we got the same guy that's running a ring compressor, so he compresses them on the way he likes. So anyway, we'll get them compressed. Ready? Let's do her. Come on, hurry up.
I'm doing it. Shut off that night.
Okay, it's off. Grease, is it lithium? Motor assembly grease. Well, I'm gonna go oil down the sleeve and you guys can hand it up to me.